Welcome back. Today we are taking on the absolute mastery of self-discipline by looking at the writings of a guy who really knew what he was talking about, Marcus Aurelius. He ruled as the emperor of Rome from 161 to 180 AD, and he's widely considered the last of the five good emperors. But what's truly fascinating is that amidst running an entire empire, he actually found the time to write a series of personal autobiographical thoughts that we now know as meditations. So, in this explainer, we're going to distill his 2,000-year-old insights into a modern, actionable guide for mastering self-discipline in your own life. Okay, let's dive into this. Were you created to huddle under the blankets? I mean, it's a direct, completely provocative question, straight from Aurelius himself. And it instantly challenges our modern comfort levels, right? It forces us to step back and ask, are we just here to stay warm and cozy? Or is there something bigger, something much more important that we're actually supposed to be doing? Here's the roadmap for our mastery journey. We've organized 10 of his ancient insights into 4 clear, easy-to-follow phases. First, define your core purpose. Second, master your daily actions. Third, conquer obstacles and naysayers. And finally, reflect, emulate, and grow. Starting off with phase 1, define your core purpose. This is all about finding the fuel for your discipline. Aurelius wrote, and I love the energy of this, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into this world to do? Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm? He fundamentally believed that we each have a duty, a specific purpose we were created for, and it is our absolute obligation to carry that out. Because without finding that fundamental reason that gets you out of bed, discipline is practically impossible. Think about it like the flat tire rule. Say you're driving home, you're totally exhausted, you just want to crash on the couch, and suddenly, boom, you get a flat tire. Well, your purpose in that exact moment becomes crystal clear, right? Change the tire as quickly as possible so you can get moving. You are going to get out of that car and get the job done regardless of how tired you feel. A clear purpose creates instant action. It gives you that internal drive to propel yourself forward without needing any extra hype. Which brings us to phase 2, master your daily actions. Once you have your compelling reason, it's time to turn that purpose into consistent practice. Aurelius advised us to keep our minds centered and essentially turn our desires to stone. You really have to commit to all those little actions along the way. So how do we actually do that without getting overwhelmed? You set a firm deadline, you break that big goal into manageable milestones, and you work in small time blocks. Breaking things into chunks puts you firmly in the driver's seat. If you don't do this, you succumb to overwhelm. Overwhelm digresses to procrastination, procrastination leads to stagnation, and where there is stagnation, self-discipline just dies. But listen, even with a great plan, something like 95% of us still fail. Why? Simply because we failed to be consistent. Self-discipline is really nothing more than the habit of consistency, doing something over and over until it's just on autopilot. But if you do slip up, please remember, a bad day doesn't have to become a bad week. A bad week doesn't have to become a bad year. If you fail to exercise one day, it doesn't define your entire character. The moment you wake up the next morning, it's a new day and a new life. Just keep going. Let's move to and see how this builds in phase 3, conquer obstacles and naysayers. This is where we focus on bulletproofing your mindset. Skip a meal, take a freezing cold shower, sleep on the literal floor, go completely without social media, or just throw your smartphone in a drawer for a few days. Aurelius taught that we should discipline ourselves in the small things to progress to greater values. By routinely making life a little uncomfortable, we are actively hardening ourselves for the day we actually have to face real scarcity and hardship. Do these things often enough, and you realize you can totally survive and even thrive without constant comfort. And this brilliantly illustrates Epictetus's famous dichotomy of control. Aurelius constantly reminds us that we have power over our own minds, not outside events. Getting distressed by external stuff is absolutely terrible for your discipline. You literally have to categorize everything into 2 buckets: what is within my control, so my mind, my actions, and what is completely out of my control, outside events, the economy, other people's opinions. If you have a problem, ask yourself, can I do something about it? If yes, great, do it. If no, then don't worry about it. You'll achieve incredible tranquility. Which naturally leads to one of Aurelius's most direct pieces of advice. Do your job without whining. We absolutely have to stop playing the victim, dropping excuses like, well, I was just born this way, or everyone else does it. are just justifications for staying exactly as you are. The whole why me mentality, it completely destroys mental toughness. Even if a situation isn't your fault, you have to step up and assume personal responsibility to right the ship. Without ownership, meaningful progress is just a pipe dream. Next up, we have to master delayed gratification. Aurelius asks, are we born just to feel nice or to do our jobs as human beings? Think about a company Christmas party. The instant gratification is loading up a plate with goodies, right? And the result? A totally derailed diet. The delayed gratification is resisting that, eating a salad and munching on some carrots. The result there? Shedding pounds and finally fitting into those favorite skinny jeans down the line. Self-discipline is simply putting off what we want right now so we can get something so much better later on. Now, as you delay gratification and build this new discipline, you are definitely going to attract naysayers. But remember, naysayers are often just people who are afraid of progress. Getting upset by someone whose opinion you don't even respect is as foolish as getting upset about the weather. It's a complete waste of your energy. Handing over your hard-earned peace of mind to outsiders so they can disrupt it? No way. Their voice does not deserve to be heard. Finally, we reach phase 4. Reflect, emulate, and grow. This is your cycle of continuous optimization. You want to look outward first. Aurelius said it's good to socialize with people of good character to model your life on theirs. Find living role models, or even historical figures, who have the exact discipline you want. Ask yourself, who is successfully doing this right now, and what can I learn from them? Actively ask them how they specifically discipline themselves to hit their goals. Borrow their blueprints. Then you look inward for some brutal, honest self-correction. One of the best ways to become more disciplined is through evening retrospections. Walk through these 3 steps every night. First, what did I do well today? Second, where was my discipline actually tested? And third, how can I improve tomorrow? Connecting with your subconscious like this helps you actively gather data on your daily habits and builds incredible self-awareness. So the crucial point is how you handle those slip-ups. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca advised, you have to forgive yourself. Have a little self-compassion. Research actually shows that forgiving yourself, not beating yourself up, is what prevents you from continuing to procrastinate. Actually, scratch that. Don't just be critical. Celebrate the things you did well so you can repeat them, and be truly grateful for the good that happened today. All right, we've covered defining your purpose, mastering those daily actions, bulletproofing your mind, and optimizing through reflection. Now I want to leave you with this final provocative question. What small, voluntary hardship will you choose today to build your mental endurance? Will you take that cold shower, skip a meal, pick one right now? Prove to yourself that you are not here just to huddle under the blankets. Thanks for joining me in this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how you apply these ancient secrets to conquer your modern life.